Here's a new globally available camera phone from Xiaomi, the Xiaomi 14. I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out what the Xiaomi 14 is all about in our full review. The Xiaomi 14 isn't just a refresh of the previous model, it brings plenty of upgrades, including a better display and chipset, faster charging, and completely revamped camera hardware. So while we won't get a Pro model this year, the Xiaomi 14 packs a Pro-level feature set within a compact form factor. The design here isn't very different from what we've seen before from Xiaomi. The noticeable change is the beefier camera bump, which protrudes more from the back. The Chinese version can come in vegan leather, but the global version can only have a glass back. It's easy to smudge, and it curves into the flat aluminum frame. Overall, the phone's glossy finish leaves it a bit on the slippery side. And like last year's model, the Xiaomi 14 has IP68 rated wrist protection against dust and water. The display of the phone is a 6.36-inch 120Hz OLED, like last year, but now you get a higher resolution, LTPO tech, and Gorilla Glass Victus protection. The higher resolution amounts to 460 ppi, which is sharper than what we got on the Xiaomi 13's 1080p display. Also, you now get support for 12-bit color depth. Other premium features such as HDR10+ and Dolby Vision are back too. And because this panel is LTPO, the 120Hz refresh rate is extra adaptive. We saw it dialed down to as low as 10 Hz to save energy, and a minimum of 1 Hz should be possible. When it comes to brightness, the Xiaomi doesn't disappoint. We measured a maximum of about 500 nits with the manual slider, which can boost up to nearly 1200 nits in auto mode when needed. For audio, the Xiaomi 14 has a pair of stereo speakers with very good loudness. Quality-wise, the speakers are great, with good sounding vocals and heavier bass than competitors. For biometrics, there's an under-display fingerprint reader. It's very responsive, but we wish the placement was a bit higher up. And the Xiaomi 14 can come with 256 or 512 gigs or a terabyte of storage on board. The interface of the phone is Xiaomi's new HyperOS 1.0, running on top of Android 14. There are some changes in the design compared to MIUI, but for the most part it's pretty similar. And the system feels fluid and snappy as ever. We're working on a dedicated video about HyperOS, and I'll leave a link here when it's ready. Something interesting about the Xiaomi 14 is that it has an IR blaster for controlling other devices with, and is hidden within the camera bump itself. And for software support, the Xiaomi 14 should get at least 4 major OS updates and 5 years of security patches. The chipset of the Xiaomi 14 is Qualcomm's latest and greatest flagship silicon, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It provides both better performance and power efficiency than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 in last year's flagships, as well as better ray tracing for games. The Xiaomi 14 does a great job in benchmarks, sitting near the top of the charts. It even outpaces some other current flagships with the same chipset. However, the impressive benchmark scores describe the phone's peak performance. When it comes to sustained performance over time, the Xiaomi 14 leaves more to be desired. In our prolonged stress tests, we observed severe thermal throttling within just 10 or 15 minutes of testing. And the throttling is jumpy, not gradual, which could result in some stutter during a game, for example. The Xiaomi 14 has a slightly larger battery capacity than last year, at 4,610 mAh. The battery life here is great, one of the best in class, with an overall active use score of 13 hours and 56 minutes. And the Xiaomi 14 did a great job in 2 categories in particular, web browsing and video playback. This year, there's support for faster 90-watt charging instead of 67, and the charger comes in the box. With it, we were able to charge the phone from 0 to 94% in 30 minutes, and a full charge took 35 minutes. There's also support for 50-watt wireless charging. The Xiaomi 14 brings substantial upgrades in camera hardware, which bring its cameras to a level closer to last year's Pro model. What you get on the Xiaomi 14 is a 50-megapixel main cam with a large OmniVision sensor, a 50-megapixel 3.2x telephoto zoom, and a 50-megapixel ultrawide camera. During the day, the main cam delivers flagship-grade image quality. The photos come out at 12.5 megapixels due to pixel binning, and they have good sharpness and fine detail, wide dynamic range, and accurate colors. There is a 2x zoom, which is a digital crop from the main cam. The results are unimpressive for a flagship though, and noticeably softer than the standard shots. In dark conditions, the Xiaomi 14 is pretty generous with its automatic night mode, and it prefers to use it often. Even if it doesn't kick in though, there's not a lot of difference from the standard shots. Nighttime photos are clean, sharp, and detailed. We were impressed with the level of detail in the shadows, as well as the handling of highlights and light sources. You can record video with the main cam in up to 8K at 24 FPS, and in up to 4K at 60 FPS with the other cameras. There's support for electronic stabilization too. 4K video quality from the main cam is right up there with the very best. You get wide dynamic range, well-developed shadows, good contrast, and no noise. Sharpness and detail are both excellent, and colors are natural. At night, the main cam's 4K video maintains a very good dynamic range and level of detail, even in the darker parts of the scene. Now we have the 3.2x telephoto camera. It produces excellent zoomed photos. They're clean and detailed, with wide dynamic range and no noise. Xiaomi also did a pretty good job at matching the telephoto's processing with the main cameras, and the images are similar in quality and rendition. We can't say we like the portraits though, they seem rather soft and rough around the edges. On the other hand, we quite enjoyed the macro close-ups from this camera. It can focus on subjects as close as 10 centimeters to produce nice and detailed macro shots. At night, the telephoto does an excellent job and matches the main camera's overall quality. You get clean-looking photos with great detail and dynamic range. Zoomed 4K videos are nice. The dynamic range is excellent, and exposure is accurate. The footage isn't quite as sharp as the main cams though, and the detail rendition strikes us as being a bit artificial looking. The ultrawide camera is good as far as this type of camera goes, but still falls behind the other two cameras in quality. 4K videos from the ultrawide are good, with wide dynamic range, accurate colors, nice contrast, no noise, and well-developed shadows. The 32 megapixel selfies appear natural, with brightened skin, and the dynamic range is on point, but overall they're soft and have pale colors. But this selfie cam can record 4K video, and the phone has 2 mics at the front and another 2 at the back, so make sure you stick around till the end of our review for a sample. So that's the Xiaomi 14. You have a great screen and speakers, the latest chipset, excellent battery life, and fast charging, and you get a solid and versatile camera experience too. There are some drawbacks. There's the lack of autofocus on the ultrawide and the underwhelming thermal management. But despite all that, the Xiaomi 14 is one of the most capable compact flagships out there, and it's worth recommending. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for an alternative, you can check out these options on our channel, the Samsung Galaxy S24 and the iPhone 15 Pro. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.